Good morning, everybody. So let us start our lecture today. And as usual, let us see our schedule. So according to our schedule, actually we are on the halfway of this course. But remember that one thing is October 9th is the last day to withdraw from this course. Anyone that if you are thinking to withdraw from this course, especially my section, see me so that if we can think that if there is something that we can help you to stay in this course. We are on the halfway and we will wrap up methods. And so far we have discussed the foundation of programming languages. It's common, any programming language. By this time you should get interest in programming. But you will never get interest if you do not start programming. And if you do not practice, you will not find any problem. But if you practice, then you will find some problem and then try to solve yourself. There are a lot of resources to solve a problem, or you can come to us, you can see our tutors. Okay. And method chapter we already finished, but let us review it quickly. By the way, our resources are updated frequently, so if you download these methods and then this module file quite ago, a few weeks ago, so then download it again. There are some updates. Okay, I want to go through these lecture videos. There are about 67, right? Through this except for the last two slides. Last two slides I will discuss in the next lecture. We know that a method, we define a method in order to group some logical statements. The main concept, main purpose of making a method or a function is to reuse some code, chunk of code. The advantage is that once we write a code, then we can reuse that. The program will be concise, easy to maintain, and easy to debug. So one of the things that using a method is to work at higher level of abstraction. Discuss the word abstraction, but it is something confusing word. Abstraction means higher level of abstraction means we will have like superficial idea. And we will some superficial idea. For instance, the print method. We use this to display something on console, right? Just by knowing how to use this method, how to call this method. We do not know yet how the print method actually works, how it is developed. We do not know it. And we do not need to know that. As long as we are familiar how to use it, then it's fine. That is called higher level of abstraction. We are knowing in depth to learn how it works. We are going to learn to use. Okay. Sometimes when we use it, we will use some methods that if we only know its signature, that is how to use it. Sometimes we do not need to spend too much money to understand, too much time and effort to understand how this method works, unless it is not in our syllabus or in our capacity. Okay. That is the thing that we are working on higher level of abstraction. And we can reduce complexity of our program, reduce size of our code by using method. Okay. So a method in other is named function. Procedure oriented language is called a procedure, or in object oriented programming concept it is called a method. Sometimes you will see the word method, procedure, task, behavior, member function. But in general, it is called a function. So why do we need to use a function? For instance, if we want to do same thing again and again, or similar thing again and again. For instance, this is a pseudocode to average of two numbers. Average of two integer numbers, for instance. The numbers, I mean, any could be anything, like 5 and 7, 7 and 10, 12 and 14, 0 and any numbers, okay? So for instance, if we do not want to write a function, our code might be like this. So we will take number 1 and number 1 and we will reverse number 2 divided by, we will sum up this number and we will divide by 2. Yes. See, this is slow kind of. I have case here. It's not synchronizing. Sorry, the problem in the podium computer. It is not responding. Okay, the simple thing, okay? So I'm recording, by the way, you can watch this video. So we use a function to reuse our code. For instance, anything for any two set of numbers we want to add, then we can disconnect it. Okay, for instance, these lines of code, what it will do, to sum up two numbers and find the average by dividing it two. Okay, but similar, instead of writing similar code again and again, what we can do, we can define this method. Yes. Like this. Okay, welcome. Welcome. So instead of writing some codes again and again, like similar type of code, what we can do, we can define this as a method, right? And we can, for instance, we can call this method, whatever I get the method name, and then our program code will be concise. This is our goal and purpose of defining a method. Okay. So then our program will be easy. Our program will be easy to maintain and then debug and to understand. Okay. So once you write a method, then or function, we can reuse it. So we know that there are two elements of a main elements. One is the call is function header line, okay, and another is call is function body. If the body is even line, we need to enclose it with the opening and closing braces. But if the body is even one line, you need to enclose it, okay. But some languages like Python do not use brace, but they use indentation in order to define. So this line is top line is called the header line. In sometime it is called so this line will tell us we have a method that returns an integer type and it is static and public. Know that public means it is global, anyone can use it. We will know more about public and static next week when we start learning object-oriented programming. Okay, but for now, remember that if a method is static, then we can call it directly, by simply we can call it. Otherwise, we need to create an object of that class that contains this method to call this method. Okay, the sum method, it takes two arguments, parameters, num1 and num2. We have to remember that when we call this sum method, then we must provide two values, one or two numbers, one for sum1 and another for sum2. Okay, this is how a method will work. And if a method have a return type instead of void means there is no return type. Then function should have a return statement, must have a return statement. And the function returns means what? Back to previous program. And if a function has a return type, then it can return a value of. So for instance, this method can return a value of integer type. Whatever value I want to return is up to me. But logical for here I am returning sum up to num1 to num2. The top line is called the signature. That will tell us what is the method name, what is the argument, if any, and what is his return type, and what is his qualifier, accessibility in private, public, or protected, or something. Public or private. Okay, when a method does not have any return type, use void type. So a method with void cannot have a return statement, cannot have a return value. It may have a return statement. Okay. It cannot return a value. So we discussed that if I want to return an average should be integer or float or double. Any of this type. When you are sure that our average will be whole number, return integer, Sometimes if it is fractional number, then we must return a double or float type. For instance, letter grade, if we want to return letter grade, if it is only one character letter grade, then we have a character type. For instance, A, B, C, D, F. But if we have more than one, for instance, A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus, something like this, then we must return this as a string type. Okay, so when a method can return only true or false. To use boolean, in some languages it says bulls, in some languages it says boolean. Okay, maybe return double or float, so we have 3.75, 4.0 something. Does a method do a return value? If a method have a return value, that method can be used like a variable of that kind. Discuss this slide. Method can return a string type. By the way, C# use is in lowercase, Java uses is in uppercase, and some languages like Python it is str. Okay, method name can be anything, but it must not be a reserved or keyword name, and it cannot start any variable or method name cannot start with a number. First character must be a letter. And this is called camel case. The first character of the whole variable method name is lowercase. Then for every remaining word, we use the first letter as uppercase. Sometimes we can use underscore. Okay, but underscore or dollar sign. But if you are not expert programmer, do not use dollar sign, please. Okay, this is an important thing we need to understand. Scope of a variable. There are three types of variable: local variable, global variable, and argument variable. You know that a if a variable is declared above of a function, that is called global variable. Global variable can be used by more than one methods. Okay, if a variable is declared within the body of a function, then that is called local variable. Sometimes we define a variable within the parenthesis. That is called argument variable. The argument variable or parameter, these are called in other calls called parameters. Parameters can be any type. Like for instance, int data. Okay. So for instance, int num1, int num2. For this method, average method, it will take two int type values. So these num1 and num2 are called formal parameters. When we call this method, we have to provide actual values for num1 and num2. That will be called actual parameters. So if a method's header line does not contain any variable, then you cannot pass any data within the parentheses. Okay, how do we use and why do we use parameters? We use parameters to pass messages or data from one method to another method. So for anyone has any question? So how do we call a method? We just call a method by itself. another thing that I will focus this one. Pass the right number of how a method works. We just call a method by its name and we passed the right stuff. Okay. Actually parameters, if it is parameters, pass the right member of the parameters. If it accepts two things, pass it two things. First type of parameter is double. Okay, that is the mention I want to mention. Parameters must match exactly. For instance, if you have parameter, for instance, float type, you can provide integer type. You can, because integer will be internally converted into float. Let us see this one. Okay. For instance, here I have three variables, num1, num2, and num3. I have another two, these are integer type variables. And I have result1 and result2 double types variable. So I have assigned here num1 equal to 5, num2 equal to 7, and num3 equal to 4. The result1 will be average of num1 and num2. What is the value of num1 and num2? For instance, my average method is defined like this way. Double average int x int y. By the way, we mentioned that if there are more arguments for each of the parameters argument, we have to define its type explicitly for each one. So integer x, I cannot say integer x comma y. So it will return what type of value it is returning? Double, right? So in this case, if I provide, so these are the variables. I have num1, num1, num2, and num3. This variable will take place on memory. And we have two more variables on result2. So the memory space, okay, how does it work? You see the initially num1 value, we put value for num1 and num2 and num3. So the 5 will go for num1, 7 will go for num2, and 3 will go for num4. And then how that will be calculated? Average method is using, we are using average method in order to calculate, assign the value of result. As we mentioned that if a method returns a value, let us check whether this average method returns a value or not. It returns a value, yes, right? Possible to use, then it is possible to use this average variable like average method like a variable or value. So what it will return, replace this value position here, what are this returns. Let us see. When we assign num1 and num2 as an argument of average 1, so num1 here is 5 and num2 is 7. This value will be passed here, 5 and 7. So then a function gets its value, actual parameters, then it becomes active. At this point, so we know that 5 plus 7 equals 12, 12 divided by 6 equal to 12 divided by 2 equal to 6, right? So then 12 divided by 6, there is a mistake over here to 1 equal, not double equal. There is a mistake with not double equal. Okay, so then what this value will be returning? 6 over here, but 6 will be returning as a double, right? So it will be returning, instead of 6, it will return 6.0. It will return 6.0. Why it will return not? Because this return type is double, right? Understand, right? So there is a mistake over here. That's good. You understand, Michael. So here, then my result 1 will be 6.0. Okay, now let us see for the second call. We are calling average method again with a different set of, right? And then we are calculating result 2. For result 2, we are passing 4 and 5. Num1 equal to num3 equal to 4 and num1 equal to 5. This method will pass sorry, there is a mistake over here. Let me fix it. Okay. It will be one equal sign and not it is integer division. It is actually double division. Since it is integer, but it will return a double value. So double. So then it will return 4.0. Even my result is 4. It will return double division. It will return oh yeah, thank you. 5. Yes. If it is integer, then it will be 4.0, right? 4. But if it is double, then 4.5. So then my this one will be 4.5. There is a mistake here. There is a mistake here. It will be 4.5. This is the way a method works, a function works. Okay. So this line, by looking at line is we'll see this line is called function call. Okay. This is called function call. Function invoking. We are invoking calling the function. So for this function, for instance, if you just are familiar with its argument type, parameter type, then we are good to use it. Even if we don't know in detail about the function. It will be good if we know in detail how a method or a function works. That is good. Even if we do not know how this method works, even if we know at least how this method will be called, we can use it. You know how to use a method, then we can use that method. This is called a higher level of higher, not highest, higher level of abstraction. It will have some kind of abstraction. Okay, another quick example. This example is very simple. I think you can go it yourself. Okay. This method will just print something. Print a value, whatever is passed as its argument, it will print that. Okay, an argument variable is something kind of look. Okay, but we use argument variable in order to pass a value from one function. In order to pass a value to another function, or in order to get a value from another function. We use this parameter or argument in order to communicate between two functions mainly. Okay, and for instance, this is the problem. So I like everybody to practice this problem. For instance, you want to find the sum from 1 to 10 or 1 to 30 and 35 to 45 and so on, 100 to 200, 300 to 400, 1000 to 2000. Okay, so if you do not use a function, what will be your code will be like this. You will be writing your code, for instance, this part will some numbers within a range. By the way, there is no semicolon over here. This is pseudocode. If you actually write a program code, you need to use semicolon in between. We are writing similar code again and again. But if our life will be easier, if we can use a method with the code that we need, we can recall this method. Then our program will be simplified. Simple. For instance, this is Java code to sum of numbers, this range to this range. Everybody please practice this problem. Okay. So that you see that our life is easier when we declare a method. So people who are taking C++ lab, convert this function in C++. Who are taking Java, convert in Java. Try to do yourself. If you face an issue, yes, C# code is here, right? And how about C++? Oh, it is also here. Life is easy. But please practice yourself, okay? Okay, another problem. Write a method that accepts two integers via parameters, determine the largest number, and return that. We are going to write a method that will return a max of numbers. How do we find max of two numbers? For instance, the num of 2, these are the parameter we will take in my method max. We will have a if condition. If num1 is greater than num2, then our max value will be, max result will be num1. Else, our max value will be num2. It's pretty simple, huh? So by using this method, by calling this function, we can find max of two variables. Just I will call this like this way. Okay. Let's see. We have our code here. Simplify, just you change the print method. Work for C++ or Java. Okay. Please try it. Anyone has any questions so far? Okay, that's good. Okay. Understanding is that if you do not have any question, two things. Possible fact should be understand everything or you understand none. Okay. So if you never start your coding, you should not have any question. You should not have any problem. But if you okay, if you start programming, then definitely you will be getting issue and you will have problem. For instance, I have a friend. He never got a ticket, driving ticket. You know the reason? You think what is the reason? He never drives. He never drives, so he never got a ticket. Okay. Okay, this is the last thing I want to discuss now, but I keep this thing the last another. This is the last. Okay, I want to discuss this. I need at least 20 minutes to discuss this. Next lecture, I will discuss this. That will be my last thing. For in next lecture, I will discuss this hopefully. Today, I want to wrap up with this. It's called Runtime Stack. There is 1 minute break. How many minutes do you have? 12 minutes? This is a good time. I need 5 minutes. Okay, I need your attention for 5 minutes. Okay, everybody please give attention here and please close your for the next 5 minutes. Okay. So stack, here this word stack. Stack is a memory location, special location, memory location. For instance, in the theater or lecture room, it has a special place. It's called podium, right? Stage, right? So if you say stage or podium of this theater or a lecture, so you will guess that that is in the front of the lecture room. Okay. That is maybe a little bit, and it has special purpose. Usually students do not sit here. Usually teacher or lecturer, this audience or like guest sits here, mainly special guest. And those are the front rows and those are the back. You know that. So like in stack, in memory, computer memory means random access memory. In memory, computer memory, there is a special location, it's called stack. What is stack is called runtime stack. That runtime stack keeps track of active track, and this is track and this is track. Okay, this keeps track of active, that means currently run methods in the program and other methods call. I'll show you what does this mean quickly in the next slide. Okay, the top of the stack represent the currently run or active method in the program. The bottom represents main method program. When a method finished, it is removed from the stack. Okay, we will study more about stack, how to implement a stack in your second course, 1322. If you know about recursion or recursive process, you will have some understanding. Stack operation is an important topic in your advanced like data structure. How to create a stack, how to do stack operation. But for now, in real life, for instance, when you wash our plates at our home or kitchen, we wash our plate, first plate, and put, right? We wash second plate and put on top of that first plate, right? We wash another plate, third plate, and put on top of second plate. So far, like, right? But think about another order, reverse order. When we use a plate, which one we usually take in? The top one, right? Top ones means the last one we washed or cleaned, we use that on first. This is why stack is called LIFO, last in first type, last in LIFO, last first out memory. That means whichever items comes last, it goes first. Okay? So that means a stack has the bottom side is closed. Bottom side is closed, so it has only one way to come in this side this way and go out from this way, single way. Okay. So here usually the main method on stack, main method stays all the way in at the bottom. Okay, and these are the variable. For instance, in our main method we do have I, j, and k. So here you see that I, okay, whenever we assign value I, j, and k, and then when we use these values for I and j and k, the last one we use, the last one we put, that one we use first. Okay, so values will be assigned here, for instance, name num2. And I value, for instance, will be assigned for num1. Okay. So when one method calls another method or program starts executing, first time stack grows up. When it executes, the stack goes down. Okay. And at the end of When our program is executed completely, our stack becomes empty. I gave an example, washing and using plates, right? So when you wash plates, when you put make a stack of plates, just washing and putting, stack of our plates grows, right? Goes upward. When we are going to use those plates, our stack of plates goes. And when we use the last plate, all our plates are gone. Same thing, stack for stack operation. Okay? Sometimes it grows, and at the end it becomes. Okay, so this is the thing. Now remember that if you understand this better, but I wish I could teach you some recursive method, then you will understand this stack operation better. Or if you, when you take your second course, 1322, you will understand this more. And this is the remaining thing. We have method overloading. I want not to discuss today. Okay, discuss in our next lecture. And before that, before we wrap up, I want to tell you that we are done with the this chapter. We have 3 more slides left. We need 20 more minutes to discuss this. We'll wrap this up in our next lecture. Now we will do this. But before you come to your next lecture, I've already passed study guide on D2L for your upcoming test on Friday. And start looking at the previous year questions and follow your study guide. And if you have any question, bring up in your next lecture. Anyone has any questions so far? Yes. Modules and function chapter will be in your test. And thank you so much. On the first year experience. 3D. Huh? 3D that way. Similar? 3D similar, yeah.
And so, I know on D2L, if you hit show 0, but your final grade. So,
let me give me 1 second. Huh? Give me 1 second, please.